Welcome to the Morning News Podcast for Wednesday, June 17, 2026. Looking outside here in Parker, Colorado, we've got clear skies and 67 degrees, heading for a high of 91 and a low of 65.
Sounds like a beautiful summer day to get outside if you can.
We have a massive show today, from a historic US-Iran peace deal to SpaceX shattering IPO records and a major cyber attack hitting schools nationwide. Alright, let's talk US news, though this first story has the entire world watching the World Cup hosted right here in North America.
You're talking about Lionel Messi putting on an absolute clinic against Algeria.
Exactly. Messi fired defending champions Argentina to a decisive victory with a spectacular hat-trick.
That is huge for Argentina's momentum in Group J, but it's also a massive personal milestone for Messi himself.
Right, because those 3 goals mean he has officially equaled the all-time World Cup goal-scoring record.
It is just incredible to see him still performing at this elite level in 2026.
It really cements his legacy as arguably the greatest of all time on the international stage.
What does that mean for us as fans watching the rest of the tournament?
It sends a clear message that Argentina is not giving up their title without a serious fight, and they are in top form.
I wouldn't want to be the team facing them next, that's for sure.
Speaking of football legends making history, Kylian Mbappé just had a record-breaking night of his own.
He scored twice in France's latest World Cup match, right?
He did, and with those 2 goals, Mbappé officially becomes France's all-time record goalscorer.
Wow, passing some incredibly legendary names to get to the very top of that list.
It is a historic milestone that cements his legacy as one of the nation's greatest football talents on the global stage.
He's still got so much of his career ahead of him, which makes you wonder how high he'll set the bar before he retires.
Exactly, he could make that record absolutely untouchable by the time he hangs up his boots.
It is turning out to be a tournament defined by broken records and superstar performances.
Shifting gears to Hollywood, we finally have confirmation on a rumor that has been swirling for years.
Are we finally talking about Tom Holland and Zendaya?
We are. Actor Tom Holland has publicly confirmed that he and Zendaya secretly married.
That is so sweet, but also genuinely impressive that they managed to keep a wedding under wraps for so long.
It really is, especially considering the intense media speculation surrounding their high-profile relationship status.
They've always been so private about their personal lives, so it makes perfect sense they'd want their wedding to be just for them.
The confirmation ends years of fans dissecting every interview, social media post, and red carpet appearance for clues.
I am sure the internet is absolutely losing its mind over this news today.
Oh, it is trending across every platform, and fans are universally thrilled for the couple.
It's nice to have some genuinely happy news out of Hollywood for a change.
On a much darker note in the entertainment world, rapper Mystical has been sentenced to 20 years in prison.
This is related to the rape charges he has been facing for quite some time, correct?
Yes, he pleaded guilty to the charges, and the judge handed down a 2-decade sentence.
Didn't he actually make a rather shocking statement in court during the sentencing?
He did, reportedly telling the court directly, "I deserve the maximum."
Wow. That is a stark and unusual admission for such a high-profile criminal case.
This sentencing marks a major legal conclusion to the long-standing criminal allegations against the musician.
It is a heavy story, but an important resolution and hopefully a step toward closure for the victims involved.
Absolutely, it closes a long and painful legal chapter in the industry.
What's next on the local front?
Let's bring things back to sports with some massive news for New York City.
The city is preparing for a massive celebration, aren't they?
You bet. New York City is setting up a celebratory parade up the Canyon of Heroes for the Knicks.
Celebrating their 2026 NBA championship victory, which still feels surreal to say out loud.
It is a historic milestone for the franchise and a long-awaiting fan base that has been desperate for a title.
What does that mean for us if we're planning to be anywhere near the city this week?
It means you should expect massive crowds, major street closures, and a whole lot of orange and blue confetti raining down.
It is going to be absolute chaos in Manhattan, but definitely the good kind of chaos.
Definitely. If you are a Knicks fan, this is the exact moment you have been dreaming of for decades.
I can already hear the cheers echoing through the streets.
Next up, we are looking at global news, including a major geopolitical shift in the Middle East. Alright, let's talk global news. A highly controversial 14-point draft memorandum between the US and Iran has just been revealed.
This document is aimed at ending the 3-month-old war between the two nations, right?
Yes, it outlines diplomatic understandings designed to de-escalate geopolitical tensions and directly address ongoing nuclear concerns.
That is a massive breakthrough. What does that mean for us on a practical, everyday level?
Well, the primary goal of the framework deal is to restore stability to key Middle East shipping routes,
which have been heavily disrupted and dangerous for commercial vessels since the conflict broke out.
Exactly. Because of this diplomatic breakthrough, economic experts expect to see an easing of global oil prices.
That is huge news for anyone feeling the pain of filling up their gas tank right now.
It also means a significant reduction in food transportation costs, which should eventually help lower grocery bills.
So this diplomatic move could actually provide some very real economic relief globally.
That is the hope, though the 14-point document itself remains highly controversial in political circles.
We will have to see if the agreement holds up under intense international scrutiny over the coming weeks.
Moving over to the G7 summit, the guest list looked a little different this year.
I saw that. Leaders from top AI firms, including OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google, were right there alongside world leaders,
including President Trump, who joined the tech executives to discuss the future of technology governance.
Having tech CEOs at the G7 really is a clear signal of exactly where power sits right now.
It absolutely highlights the growing geopolitical influence of artificial intelligence on the world stage.
It feels like an urgent push for international regulatory frameworks before the technology completely outpaces the law.
That is exactly the concern. Governments realize they cannot effectively regulate AI without the people building it sitting at the table.
It is a fascinating dynamic, watching corporate leaders negotiate global policy, almost like heads of state.
In Europe, authorities in the Netherlands just pulled off a massive cybersecurity operation.
They seized a huge number of servers in this raid, didn't they?
Yes, they seized 800 servers and arrested 2 hosting company owners in the process.
What exactly were those servers being used for?
They were utilized by Russia to conduct aggressive cyber attacks and massive disinformation campaigns.
Wow. Operating right from within the borders of the European Union.
Exactly. This operation disrupts a major piece of technical infrastructure used for state-sponsored cyber warfare.
That is a significant blow to those hidden disinformation networks.
It is, and it shows how aggressive European authorities are getting in rooting out these digital threats. Coming up, a quick check on the latest headlines out of India and Tamil Nadu. Let's look at India, starting with a very costly lesson in corporate security.
This is the WhatsApp phishing scam that cost an Indian company over 10 rupees crore.
Right. An employee fell victim to a scammer impersonating their boss via a simple text message.
Over $1 million lost just because someone believed a fake text from the CEO.
It really highlights the growing threat of executive impersonation attacks targeting corporate finances.
Definitely a harsh reminder to always double-check and verify before authorizing massive wire transfers.
In infrastructure news, the Navi Mumbai International Airport has set a major launch date.
They are kicking off international operations on July 15, 2026, right?
Yes, both international passenger and cargo operations will officially commence at the new Greenfield facility.
That is going to significantly ease the heavy air traffic congestion in the Mumbai metropolitan region.
It is a much-needed expansion for one of the busiest and fastest-growing travel hubs in the world.
What is the last story out of the region today?
Hyderabad-based Control S data centers just secured a massive financial investment.
A 7,000 rupees crore investment from the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board.
That is right, which includes an 8.2% equity stake acquisition in the company.
That massive capital influx is going to rapidly accelerate the expansion of India's digital and cloud infrastructure.
It is a huge, confident bet on the future of data storage and processing in the region. Next up, markets and finance, where SpaceX is breaking every record in the book. Alright, let's talk finance. The numbers are finally in from the SpaceX IPO, and they are absolutely staggering.
They raised $85.7 billion, which is a full $10 billion more than initially projected.
It officially cements this listing as the largest initial public offering in the history of the stock market.
What does that mean for us, or rather, for Elon Musk's broader corporate strategies?
It provides massive, unprecedented capital for his rocket programs and his rapidly growing AI ambitions.
And the market response on day one was immediate and overwhelmingly positive, wasn't it?
Absolutely. We'll touch on the specific tech sector impact in a minute, but the post-IPO surge pushed their total valuation to $2.78 trillion.
Which means SpaceX has officially overtaken Amazon to become the world's fifth most valuable company.
That is wild to think about. It really highlights incredible investor confidence in the commercial space sector.
And specifically in Musk's satellite internet expansion with a Starlink network.
It is a landmark moment for the public markets and proves that space is the next major financial frontier.
I can't even fathom a nearly $3 trillion valuation for a space exploration company.
Moving to the crypto markets, Bitcoin has been on a wild ride over the last 24 hours.
It briefly rallied past $67,000 following the news of the US-Iran peace deal we discussed earlier.
It did, but derivatives data suggests that professional traders remain highly skeptical of the rally's staying power.
So the cautious market sentiment indicates this price spike could potentially be a bull trap?
Exactly. A lot of investors are waiting on the Federal Reserve before committing to any big moves.
We have an upcoming interest rate decision, which will be the first under the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh.
Rates are widely expected to remain unchanged, but everyone is scanning the policy statement for clues.
They're looking for macroeconomic signals that could trigger a more sustained, long-term Bitcoin rally.
Right. If Warsh signals a more dovish approach to inflation, we could see crypto pop significantly.
It is definitely a tense wait-and-see moment for digital asset investors.
In global economics, we got some unexpectedly positive news on UK inflation.
It remained unexpectedly steady at 2.8% in the year to May.
The big driver keeping that number down is that food price increases slowed to a 17-month low.
That stabilization has to offer some much-needed relief to consumers feeling the pinch at the grocery store.
It does, though rising transport costs are continuing to put pressure on household budgets.
So, it is a bit of a mixed bag, but avoiding another sharp inflation spike is definitely a win for the economy.
Finally, in finance, a severe warning for Android users who manage their money on their smartphones.
There is a new Android banking Trojan named Rokerala making the rounds.
It has been discovered actively targeting 217 different financial and cryptocurrency applications.
That is terrifying. What exactly can this malware do if it gets on your phone?
It can steal your lock screen pins, intercept SMS authentication codes, and even redirect your crypto transactions.
Wow, so it gives attackers extensive, total control over compromised devices.
Yes, so be incredibly careful about what apps you download and what permissions you grant them. Coming up in our tech segment, a massive data breach is shutting down classrooms across the country. Let's talk tech, starting with a full-blown crisis hitting the education sector.
A major data extortion attack has crippled the Canvas education platform.
It is severely disrupting classes at schools and universities all across the United States.
Canvas is used by almost every major institution. What exactly are the attackers demanding?
They are threatening to leak the personal data of 275 million students and faculty unless a massive ransom is paid.
That is huge. What does that mean for us if we or our kids are currently using Canvas?
It means your grades, submitted assignments, and potentially highly sensitive personal information could be exposed to the public.
Are schools just shutting down their digital portals in the meantime to stop the bleeding?
Many are, which is exactly why we are seeing widespread class cancellations while IT teams scramble to assess the damage.
What an absolute nightmare for educators and students right at the start of the summer sessions.
This ties into a broader trend of aggressive cybercrime, largely driven by a group known as the Gentlemen.
They have emerged as the second most active ransomware gang by victim count, haven't they?
They have, and they are using a ruthless recruitment strategy to rapidly grow their ranks of hackers.
I read they are offering affiliates a 90% payout on any ransoms collected.
That massive cut is drawing in a lot of talent from the dark web, making the group a rapidly growing, highly motivated threat.
Law enforcement is frantically trying to identify the group's administrator to dismantle the entire operation.
Until they find the person running the gentleman, these large-scale attacks are likely to keep scaling up.
It is scary how organized these cybercrime syndicates have become.
Even the federal government isn't immune to severe security failures right now.
You are talking about the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA.
Yes. U.S. lawmakers are demanding answers after a CISA contractor accidentally leaked highly sensitive data.
They somehow dropped AWS GovCloud keys and agency secrets onto a completely public GitHub repository.
It is an unbelievable blunder that has triggered an urgent congressional inquiry into their security protocols.
The agency is currently struggling to contain the exposure of those highly privileged credentials.
It is certainly not a great look for the exact agency tasked with defending the nation's cybersecurity.
Hopefully, they can secure those environments before malicious actors exploit the keys.
In an effort to patch some of the holes across the industry, Microsoft just had a record-breaking patch Tuesday for June 2026.
They released software updates addressing nearly 200 security vulnerabilities in a single day.
That volume is unprecedented for their monthly cycle, and dozens of the bugs are rated critical.
People need to update their systems immediately, especially since exploit code for several vulnerabilities is already publicly available.
Exactly. This is not the month to hit Remind Me Tomorrow on your Windows Update notification.
We mentioned SpaceX earlier, but it's worth noting how their tech sector shares reacted to the IPO.
Right, SpaceX shares surged nearly 20% on their first day of trading.
This landmark IPO represents a major financial milestone for the commercial space sector and broader public markets.
It really proves that the tech industry's reach is extending far beyond software and into orbit.
Speaking of software advancements, Hugging Face has introduced some fascinating new tools for robotics.
They launched Strands Agents and LeRobot to significantly streamline the process of training and deploying robot hardware.
It unifies demonstration recording, training, simulation, and hardware deployment into a single, cohesive workflow.
That reduces the need for multiple separate tools, making robotics development way more accessible to researchers.
And on the language model side, the new GLM 5.2 model was just announced.
That is the one with the massive 1 million token context window, right?
Yes, it is designed specifically to sustain long-horizon tasks without losing track of the information.
It also uses a new index share architecture that reduces per token latency, making it much faster.
It offers flexible thinking effort levels, which is going to be a game changer for advanced coding and complex reasoning tasks.
The pace of AI and robotics advancement just refuses to slow down. It really doesn't, and that seems to be the overarching theme for the day. Whether it's Messi breaking historic records, SpaceX completely reshaping the financial markets, or AI advancing at breakneck speed, we are watching history unfold in real time.
That is all for today's show. Thanks for starting your morning with us, and we will see you tomorrow.